General Hospital, July 28. Wedding mayhem, Albrecht's secret, and Jason's grave doubts unravel Port Charles. As July 28 descends upon Port Charles, a veneer of celebration conceals the web of emotional wreckage, betrayal, and looming revelations that threaten to detonate across several families. What was meant to be a day of love and new beginnings, the wedding of Willow and Drew, spirals instead into a kaleidoscope of deception, manipulation, and buried truths clawing their way to the surface. As each thread of this tangled story begins to unravel, not a single resident of Port Charles escapes untouched. At the Metro Court pool, the sunny illusion of leisure is pierced by a confrontation between Molly and Cody that is both awkward and revelatory. What starts as Cody casually requesting help applying sunscreen suddenly erupts into something much more charged, as Molly lashes out with accusations that he's manipulating her into touching him. Cody, stunned and genuinely confused, is left reeling by her abrupt disgust and withdrawal. But the truth is far more complicated. Molly's erratic shift in behavior has roots in Christina's meddling. Christina, ever loyal but impulsively protective, has quietly inserted herself into Molly's personal affairs, using her influence to sow doubt and dismantle a budding romance before it takes root. What Christina sees as sisterly safeguarding is beginning to backfire, exposing the depth of her own unresolved issues and triggering a domino effect across her family. Meanwhile, the weight of Christina's choices continues to grow heavier. She seeks out Michael, carrying with her a confession too explosive to keep buried any longer. With trembling vulnerability, Christina admits her involvement in an attempt to manipulate Ava, a scheme that veered wildly off course and nearly cost the lives of Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin. Michael, already burdened by his own fractured relationships and recent crises, is floored. The revelation leaves him stunned, horrified that his sister, who once sought healing and unity, is now flirting with recklessness and revenge. But Christina isn't finished. She asserts that Rick's hands are far from clean, revealing that he had been blackmailing Ava in a scheme darker than anyone imagined. Her words twist the moral framework of the situation, casting herself not simply as the aggressor but as a vigilante in a world where justice no longer wears a clear face. Elsewhere, Jocelyn finds herself reluctantly summoned into Jack Brennan's orbit once more. Brennan, who has complicated ties to both Jocelyn and Carly, is intent on resetting boundaries, insisting Jocelyn steer clear of his relationship with her mother. But beneath his charm lies something more troubling, an unspoken demand for silence and control. Jocelyn, never one to bow easily, agrees to hear him out, but it's clear her distrust is growing. Brennan, unfazed, pivots toward business, assigning Jocelyn a new task likely tied to the shadowy figure of Professor Henry Dalton. Whatever his intentions, one thing becomes clear. Brennan's interests in Port Charles are far from romantic or coincidental. They are strategic, veiled in secrecy, and dangerously calculated. Back at the heart of town, a darker question looms, one that haunts Jason's every waking moment. Having glimpsed what he believes to be Brit in a crowded Paris airport, Jason can no longer accept the official narrative of her death. The idea that Brit's grave holds nothing but lies gnaws at him relentlessly. Carly, shaken by the possibility, fears that Jason may cross a line from which there is no return. But Jason, ever methodical in his loyalty and instincts, refuses to back down. He resolves to confront Liesl Albrecht, believing that the truth begins and ends with her. The woman who once mourned Britt with heart-shattering grief may now be the keeper of a secret far more insidious, that her daughter is alive and being hidden for reasons that threaten to upend more than just her own past. As Jason closes in on Albrecht, Port Charles braces for the crescendo of its chaos, the wedding of Drew and Willow. What should have been a moment of peace is already laced with agony. Willow walks down the aisle as if bearing the weight of 100 lies. Her steps are hesitant, her face etched with fear and revulsion. Drew, oblivious in his joy, clutches her hand, unaware that his bride is on the verge of collapse, spiritually, emotionally, and quite possibly physically. Among the guests, Nina sits like a ghost haunting her own creation, wondering if Willow will go through with it after discovering her secret tryst with Drew. It's a betrayal so personal, so raw, that even Nina is unsure whether Willow's sense of survival or vengeance will win out. Willow's motivations are not simple. She no longer loves Drew in the way a bride should, but she clings to him as a strategic weapon. Marriage, in her eyes, is a necessary evil, her last card to reclaim her child and salvage what little remains of the life she once dreamed of. But no amount of resolve can mask the sickness rising in her chest. As Lucy utters the iconic words, "Speak now or forever hold your peace," the moment grips every heart in the room. And then Willow collapses. Her body gives out, a perfect mirror of her soul's disintegration. Guests scream. Chairs crash. Drew kneels beside her, lost. And the wedding that was supposed to heal instead becomes a spectacle of ruin. As emergency responders arrive and Willow is whisked away, Lucy is left at the altar, speechless. But the show is far from over. As guests filter out in stunned silence, Liesl Albrecht approaches with a strange calm in her eyes. She had come prepared to deliver a surprise, and she still intends to. But Jason is waiting. When he finally corners her, demanding the truth about Britt, Liesl is visibly shaken. Her lies may no longer shield her, and Jason's interrogation is relentless. In the days to come, Albrecht's grip on her secrets will loosen, Jason's suspicion will harden into conviction, and the mystery of Britt's fate will reignite a cold fire that spreads far beyond any single grave. Willow's collapse will spark investigations, new confrontations, and possibly shatter alliances that were already hanging by threads. Jocelyn's entanglement with Brennan will deepen, drawing her into a dangerous web of power and surveillance she never intended to touch. And Christina, caught between guilt and self-righteousness, may finally face the fallout of playing judge, jury, and near executioner. Port Charles stands on the brink. A town that thrives on secrets now drowns in them. What was supposed to be a quiet summer wedding has turned into a series of reckonings. And as one body collapses, another truth rises: no one in this town walks away clean. The ghosts of the past are no longer content to whisper. They are screaming, clawing, demanding to be seen. In General Hospital? It's no longer a sanctuary. It's the final battleground.